43-35, Colorado defeats Colorado State in double overtime. We just got out of the post-game press conference. It's 2 a.m., and I don't even know where to begin. Let's start with the positives. Colorado is 3-0 going into conference play.
Yeah, 3-0 going to conference play after winning one game last year, and we've talked about it many times, but the over-under for the whole season at the start was 3.5. They're already at 3, having to start a conference play, and I thought it was fitting. We walked by here, obviously the stadium's empty. We walked, there's trash on the ground, and there's this picture of Tim Tebow for some reason laying on the ground. I thought it was random, but I'm like, maybe that's fitting because Shedeur Sanders sort of had a Tim Tebow type of moment tonight, as you remember the Bronco days with Tebow, where this team did not play very well for most of this game, and then all of a sudden, backs against the wall, he comes through and leads them to a victory. And I thought it was a classic moment for him. He's probably done it before. He's probably going to have more of those. But I thought this was a really big moment for Shedeur Sanders, the way he took this team off the deck and led them to a victory tonight.
And the guy he was finding late in this football game, Mikey Harrison, who is a walk-on, was a receiver in this program, got moved over to tight end, and he showed up big time. 7 catches and scored 2 touchdowns, a 2-point conversion, stepped up when they needed somebody too with Travis Hunter, and we'll get to him later, not in the mix late in this game.
Yeah, and the 7 catches doesn't include the 2-point conversion because that's not an official catch. And I joked with you in the postgame. I was like, I think Sean Lewis has had years where his tight ends don't have 7 catches in a season. But Mikey Harrison has 7 tonight, including both touchdowns in overtime. I was impressed with the way this offense shifted things late in this game because they were not going very well in this game, and it's shifted when they started looking at Mikey Harrison and started throwing to the tight end more. They also brought in Stavion Wilkerson at running back, and they kind of got an extra blocker, and then also some tough runs there. Those 2 moves I thought really changed things offensively, got this team moving a little bit, and kudos to Michael Harrison because that's an awesome moment for him. I'm sure he'll never forget that, and maybe he'll have more like that, but that was an awesome moment for him.
I'm not sure what Henry Blackburn's intention was on that play. This is a physical game, but that looked like a cheap shot on Travis Hunter on the sideline, and he hit him right in the midsection where he was kind of exposed. And so it even got LeBron James tweeting, why was he not ejected? I was wondering the same thing as King James pointed out on Twitter. It's just crazy that he's tweeting about CU football. That should be textbook. You're out of here, because those are the plays, and that was a play that got somebody seriously hurt. And now Travis Hunter, it sounds like he's going to be okay, but he had to go to the hospital as a result.
Yeah, and Coach Prime also said it sounds like he might be out a few weeks, and so they were able to get through this one without him. But they got to start conference play now. It sounds like without Travis Hunter, and that severely impacts him. That takes the best player off the field. Obviously, Shedeur is the most important, but that takes the best player off the field potentially for at least the Oregon game, I would think, based on what Coach Prime said. And so, yeah, that's an unfortunate hit because I'm sure he's trying to make a play. Henry Blackburn is, but that it did look like a cheap shot, and that's a tough one because hopefully he's okay. I don't know what the injury is. Coach Prime didn't say, but you hope that Travis Hunter can get back soon.
Coach Prime said they need to fix these slow starts. He said they need to develop a mentality as a running attack offensively that we're going to overpower the other team and have our will shine out, and that we just haven't seen that early on this season. So those are maybe the 2 biggest areas in terms of improving. And then defensively, those crossing routes were just killing Colorado all night, and they obviously need to make some adjustments there as well.
Yeah, and Coach Prime mentioned that too. He's like, I'm sure all of you saw it and said, why can't we cover a crossing route? Didn't they expect it? He goes, yes, we expected, but guys weren't doing what they should. And he has said that a few times this year. He's not afraid to, I don't want to say throw under the bus. He's not afraid to say it's the players that need to step up. A lot of times you hear coaches that'll say, hey, we got to coach better. And he's saying, hey, we're calling some of the right things, but these guys got to step up. And, he was asked multiple questions about that, and he said, guys just got to do their job. And that was something that, Torrey Horton had a big-time night tonight, and a lot of it was those under routes. I think it was 101 yards after the catch that he had tonight, and a lot of that was on those under routes, and he just lived on those tonight. And, Braden Fowler Nicolosi.
You got it.
I got it. Pretty good quarterback. I mean, he threw 3 picks tonight. One of them was in overtime. He's trying to make that play at the end, but pretty good quarterback that really surprised me tonight, and he lived on those routes as well. They found something in CU's defense, and they ran with it, and they were the dominant team for really probably, what would you say, the first 58 minutes of this game?
Yeah, I think so. And credit to Jay Norvell, because he took a lot of flack on TV the last couple of days, and rightfully so. You go after somebody's mother it was just an idiotic thing to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that played into his team's performance, but those guys were ready to play tonight. And it goes back to what Coach Prime says when he goes on national TV and says we're about 8 dogs away. It's in the trenches where they need some more of those elite guys, and that's what you saw tonight with a Mountain West program that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, and a Mountain West program that, frankly, looked awful 2 weeks ago in its opener, and was coming off. Last season they couldn't score, and they couldn't really score a couple weeks ago against Washington State until it was garbage time, and again it was garbage time with a new quarterback who looked good tonight. But CSU looked pretty good offensively tonight, and CU made some plays defensively, and you got to credit them for that. Shiloh Sanders got things started with a pick 6. Cam Silman-Craig, Trevor Woods with interceptions. I think there was a fumble recovery in there as well. So they made some plays, but CSU, you got to give them credit. I mean, I thought it was a dumb thing for Jay Norvell to say. There was a different way to go about that. Yeah. But, you and I talked about it. The one thing that Jay Norvell did is he brought some juice to this rivalry.
Yeah.
And that made it fun tonight because now there was some scuffling before, before the cameras went on, everything, in the pregame. I thought it made it fun. I mean, the atmosphere was awesome tonight, and it wasn't just because this is Coach Prime. CSU contributed to that tonight because of those comments and the way they came out and played.
There was a fumble recovery, and the fumble was forced by Shiloh Sanders, who also had a pick 6 today and had a great moment with his dad where they embraced after that. He came up big, and the turnovers defensively, as well as Colorado State being undisciplined, is what kind of kept Colorado around in this game, even when they were struggling offensively.
Yeah, and it's sort of the same thing as TCU, right? The defense didn't play a great game, but they had a couple of really timely turnovers or takeaways in that TCU game. Same thing here, and maybe that's the trademark of this defense is they're going to bend a little bit, but come up with those timely plays because those guys. There's playmakers, and Cam Silman-Craig now. Miles Slusher has missed the last 2 games with injury, so Cam's come in and started. He's had an interception in each one, and they've been big interceptions. So you got to credit that defense for stepping up.
Trevor Woods had a few issues defensively, but comes up when it matters again, to your point, with the final interception of the game. Where does Colorado go from here? Obviously, going out to Oregon, they're going to be the underdog again, which I think is going to suit this team well. I think they do well in that role. At least they have early on this season. They're going to have to play better than they did today, obviously. That's Captain Obvious speaking right there. Yeah. But I think they can, and I think they're going to put up a fight against Oregon next week. We'll dive more into that matchup next week, but it's just crazy. Colorado's 3-0, and they've got a big matchup going out to Eugene.
Yeah, well, a couple of things they got to fix. I mean, defensively, they have to play better than what they've played. They had a good game against Nebraska, but they have to play better than they did tonight. And Coach Prime mentioned it. He's tired of seeing them start slow. The last 2 games, they've started really slow offensively. He goes, that's got to stop. And they can't do that at Oregon because Oregon's a team, especially at home at Autzen. You've been there. I mean, that atmosphere is pretty awesome. That's a team that could take advantage of it and put you in a 17 or 21-0 hole early if you're not going offensively. And so they've got to get it going. Yeah,
I would say Folsom Field and Autzen Stadium, when the fans are engaged, those are the most intimidating environments in the Pac-12. Yeah. Well, I mean, the sun's going to be coming up here before we know, so we should probably end this.
I will say, can I just say one thing? Yeah. Because you mentioned how surreal is it that LeBron James is tweeting about the bus. This started with Lil Wayne is singing in the end zone as they're coming out. Like, come on, this whole thing is surreal. I mean, there's how many surreal moments have we had through 3 weeks? And we got 9 more, plus potentially a bowl game. We got several months of this, so it's going to become normal.
It's a lot of fun, and it's crazy when Coach Prime first came here. Yeah. There were all these cameras. It was, I wouldn't say intimidating, but it took some getting used to. Now, I don't know about you, just walking around the facilities, I'm almost surprised when there isn't a camera around.
Well, and almost surprised when there's not a celebrity walking around, too. Yeah. I mean, Well, it felt like in the spring, to your point, like the camera's like, all right, this is different. Well, each week kind of like ramps up. Well, this is really different now. Well, it's even more different. And all of a sudden, it's like, what is going on here? But this team keeps winning, and they're making it fun.
Yeah. Fun times here on the Colorado Beach. We'll see what is next.